Hello, welcome to Point of View 89, the channel you can trust. Today, I'd like to talk about the future of the United States of America. The title of this video is American Dictator.
Thank you for watching. Making video is time-consuming and hard work. Kindly click the subscribe button and click the like button so as to encourage us to make the videos you like. Thank you and happy watching.
A Spanish philosopher once said, "Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it." A number of experts said that when people try to predict the future, it can be helpful to look at the past to assess today's trends, and the future will flow from current trends. The more things change, the more they stay the same, and the future will flow from current trends. So, what are the trends in the USA today?
So, bacon and eggs walk into a bar and order a beer. And then the bartender comes up to them and says, "Sorry, we don't serve breakfast here."
Congratulations on your anniversary! We remember you both and wish you the best on this special day.
Yes. In this video, I'll be talking about the political trends that the US government is big, clumsy, and too corrupt for the country, and becoming an ideal incubator for an up-and-coming dictator. According to research, populist governments have deepened corruption, eroded individual rights, and inflicted serious damage on democratic institutions. In the US presidential election 2020, Donald Trump, a populist candidate, received over 74.3 million votes, or roughly 47% of the people voted. It is a danger sign. We like to thank Lincoln Learning Solution for using a clip from their video, Checks and Balances.
Checks and balances. After breaking from a British government that lorded over the colonists, the framers of the Constitution wanted to make sure that their government did not get too powerful. In order to do this, they established three separate branches of government that would each have its own specific powers. The three branches of government are the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. The legislative branch, or Congress, is comprised of the House of Representatives and the Senate. This branch has the power to make laws, the power to tax and spend, the power to approve treaties, and the power to declare war. The executive branch consists of the President, the executive and cabinet departments, and the independent governing agencies, like the IRS. The president is the head of the executive branch. He has the power to carry out the laws passed by Congress, recommend new legislation, set foreign policies, and nominate Supreme Court justices. The judicial branch is comprised of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, and the District Court. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the judicial branch. This branch has the power to interpret all laws and decide cases involving state rights. In order to ensure that no one branch becomes more powerful than the other, a system of checks and balances was incorporated into the Constitution. In other words, each branch of government would be able to check the powers of the other. Take, for example, the process of passing a law. A bill must be passed through both houses of Congress before it goes to the president for approval. The president can either sign the bill or veto the bill. Even if the bill is vetoed, Congress may overturn the veto with a 2/3 majority vote. The Supreme Court has the final say because it can decide if a law is constitutional or unconstitutional.
Howard Zinn was an American historian, playwright, philosopher, and socialist thinker, and World War II veteran. He was a political science professor at Boston University. Professor Zinn said, "I don't think we can depend on Congress. In the American political system, we have been brought up to believe that the American political system works beautifully. It's democratic, Congress represents us, the president is elected, he represents us. It doesn't work that way." The checks and balances system looks good on a chart. Truly, it doesn't work that way. The United States political system is flawed to Donald Trump's advantage. The three branches of government provided by the Constitution, the legislative branch is corrupt, the executive branch is incompetent, and the judicial branch is prejudiced. The result, a dysfunctional system. Echoing the quotation from the economist Milton Friedman that the government solution to problem is usually as bad as the problem. The legislative branch is one of the three branches of government provided by the Constitution. Congress consists of the Senate and the House of Representatives, located at United States Capitol, Washington, District of Columbia. Forbes Statistica named District of Columbia the worst U.S. states for corruption, with 16.79 convictions per 10,000 inhabitants from 1976 to 2018. Corruption is legal in America in the form of lobbyists for interest groups. Policy making is dominated by powerful business organizations and small number of affluent Americans, namely the billionaires, the politicians, and the lobbyists. And then Americans' claims to be a democratic society are seriously threatened. The cycle of corruption and the shadow of lobbying complex are problematic and smear the status of high office. The failure of politicians to serve the public interest as a consequence of lobbying by special interests who provide benefits to the politician is an example of corruption. That is why lobbying is seen as one of the causes of a democratic failure. Congressional term limits. Various benefits come from the inclusion of term limits on Congress. A look at these merits will highlight the urgency of embracing this approach. There is hardly one-dimensional solution to whether congressional term limits are necessary or not. However, it will be fair to learn that towards embracing these limits, one primary reason for this would be the injection of new blood into the system. Nothing beats the satisfaction and productivity that comes with this. United States defense budget is humongous. The US Congress lobbyists spend $3.2 billion annually influencing Congress, making senators and representatives richer and the taxpayers poorer, with a hefty defense budget of $1.6 trillion. There is absolutely no need for this huge defense budget, which is roughly 5 times more than any other country in the world on war. Coincidence or corruption that 44% of US defense contracts were awarded with no competitive bid. The warmongers at the Capitol would have to start wars and unnecessary invasion of defenseless nations to substantiate the huge war readiness stockpile of weapon, machinery, and logistics. The US is the biggest culprit for genocide, drone bombing, and starting wars all over the world. The US is the biggest culprit for genocide, drone bombing, and starting wars all over the world. Trumpism overpowering Republicans. Republican Senate critics fearing Trump toe an anti-impeachment party line. The results of the 2 impeachments of Donald Trump showed that the Republicans were voting along party lines. Trump was impeached for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. They were serious crimes. Out of fear, Republicans' Senate majority acquitted Donald Trump. The executive branch is one of the 3 branches of government provided by the Constitution. The executive branch, which was incompetent and dangerous to democracy under the Trump administration from 2016 to 2021. The executive branch consists of the President, the Vice President, and the Cabinet of Secretaries. The executive branch is located at the White House. Donald Trump is the most corrupt president in history, and he must be held accountable. Trump's disapproval rate on major policies is high, and Trump has over 3,000 personal, social, and political conflicts as of 2020. Between January 2017 to September 2019, Trump told 13,445 lies and counting. Trump doesn't respect the American Constitution. Donald Trump divided the Republican Party. The Washington Post Woodward Book wrote that Donald Trump knew coronavirus was deadly and worse than the flu, but intentionally misleading Americans. During the presidential election 2020, it was rumored that Donald Trump and his cronies tried to sabotage the vote by mail scheme. Donald Trump lost the presidential election 2020 but refused to admit defeat and rejected the result. And Republicans lawmakers also joined Trump in rejecting the result. Republic Report wrote that Trump, standing in front of a church with a Bible in hand to provoke an insurrection, is most vile, corrupt, and incompetent president in U.S. history. Most Republicans still believe 2020 election was stolen from Trump. So much so, when Donald Trump hinted for an insurrection, Trump's supporters complied and they stormed the Capitol.
We have hundreds of thousands of people here, and I just want them to be recognized by the fake news media. Turn your cameras, please, and show what's really happening out here, because these people are not going to take it any longer. They're not going to take it any longer. Again, I want to thank you. It's just a great honor to have this kind of crowd and to be before you and hundreds of thousands of American patriots who are committed to the honesty of our elections and the integrity of our glorious republic. All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
U.S. President Donald Trump spent more than 1 hour on the phone to election officials in Georgia as he continues to try to overturn the result in the state.
The people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
The judicial branch is one of the 3 branches of government provided by the Constitution. This judicial power amounted to prejudicial circumstances under the Trump administration from 2016 to 2021. The U.S. court system is totally corrupt, based on greed and not justice. United States legalized corruption. Bribery is a crime. Lobbying is bribery. So lobbyists are criminals. Trump administration nominated and confirmed 234 judicial appointments. 3 Supreme Court justices were appointed by Donald Trump. That is a third of the 9-member Supreme Court. If we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed, and we will deserve it. A country flawed and dysfunctional political system is in danger of being usurped by a dictator. The US government is big, clumsy, and corrupt. An ideal time for a dictator to take over. Ha 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 ha. Former Secretary of Labor Robert Rich said Donald Trump has been acting like a head of a dictatorship rather than the US democracy. Donald Trump failed in many things, and yet he is still popular. By getting 47% of the popular votes in 2020 election is amazing. He is charismatically attractive to certain section of the population, and this is making many re-election Republicans afraid of him. Trumpetism is contagious.
Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
Donald Trump famous last word.
We have come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Making video is time consuming and hard work. Kindly click the subscribe button and click the like button so as to encourage us to make the videos you like. Thank you and have a good day.